Okay. Hello, everybody. And so we're going to wait a few minutes to wait for everybody to show up. Like we've got one person that's joining us. So we'll be doing some proper introductions. I am the owner of Section8Consulting.com. I'm sure you've seen it's plastered all over my channel. I've probably made around 200 videos. I've been doing this about 20 years. I've got about six, almost 7 years successful on YouTube. And I really honestly don't need many good introductions. Most people know who I am. I'm one of the better educators of this program, Section 8 Housing and Section 8 Consulting. So, all right, it's like we got two. So, I think we're going to run with you two guys. So, if you could, guys, hold off on the questions. Let me get everything out first. And then what we're going to be talking about is how to buy a HUD home and the HUD home program. Now, I've made a lot of notes about this. It's an extraordinary amount of information, and so it's not possible for me to just kick out everything just solely from what I know in my head. So, now before we start, I'd like to let you guys know there is a chat window. Anybody can chat in that window and ask questions. I'm not quite sure how that renders on your mobile phone, but if you figure it out, you're welcome to ask questions there after I get through the intro. Um, if you are a member of this channel, so for those of you who don't know, a membership for a few dollars, you become a member of the channel, and it allows you to use little emojis and other things. What I do with the few dollars that I get with that stuff is I rescue animals. I don't just rescue people and help them get housing. I also rescue animals. So I allocate any membership funds from that, mostly to help my 21 cats. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So a lot of people have been asking me for about a year now about HUD homes, how to use their vouchers to buy homes, and all the different things that go with it. So before we get into this, I need to explain to you one, I am not a real estate agent. I am not a broker. In addition to those two things, you also have to be certified by HUD. So you should consider my advice in principle as a person that has purchased a HUD home. Number two, I'm not a consultant in that respect of buying or selling homes. Okay, so you're getting my opinion today based on my 20 years of experience, and I'm sure it's a pretty good equivalent to those that are brokers or real estate agents. Okay, so as long as you're clear about that. Now, the third thing I'm going to tell you is you can book consulting calls about getting vouchers and different things through me. However, when it comes to this and purchasing a home through HUD, uh, if you do purchase time to talk to me about this particular subject, it would be my opinion based solely on the things that I know, and it would not be in a formal format of me consulting. Okay, because that would not be legal, and those people out there that are giving advice should not be doing so on YouTube without a certification and also being licensed in the state as a broker or real estate agent. All right, now let me cut through all the bullshit. Let's get down to the point. So, first thing I'm going to tell you guys is, since 2000, there has been a home buyer program for HUD, and it works in two variations. One early on in 2000, for those of you that lived in specific cities with specific housing authorities, it would allow you, after having your voucher for 12 months, to be able to use that. So, if the voucher pays 70%, and your portion of the rent is 30%, then you would be allowed to use that 30% to pay direct equity into the home itself. Okay. You should also know that this is not available in every city, and it's a little bit scarce when it comes to this particular part. Now, the second variation of this is you can simply purchase a HUD home with or without a voucher. And that's what we're going to be really talking about. Now, for the most part, the original program of using your voucher and that 30% you're actually paying in cash and that going towards your mortgage, a lot of that has ended around the country. However, there are some states, some counties, and some housing authorities that still do the program. Okay, and let me give you all some information so you can follow along. So first of all, you're going to want to know where to find your PHAs, which is your public housing authorities. So I'm going to copy that directly into our comments here. That way you can go ahead and be able to call those places yourself. So that's your first link. All right. Now, the other thing I'll tell you guys, this is probably going to be an hour video. So you don't need to watch the whole thing. You can bookmark it, come back to it later. I realize watching something more than 8 or 9 minutes is a lot for most people. So, you can always come back later tonight when you're not busy and more focused and address it that way. So let's move back to the housing part here. So you've got that link. That'll help you identify the housing authorities that may be participating in this program. Now we're going to go over a bunch of Q&A stuff for this. So in most cases, what you have is a program that is issued around the state. And so how it actually works is you have, say you have a young couple that purchase a home for $200,000. Okay. And so they buy this with an FHA loan. And for whatever reason, a pandemic hits and they can no longer pay for the home. Now they're in a position where they lose the home. It goes back to Fannie Mae, Fannie Mac. You know what they do with that house? They throw it into an auction, which essentially chops the price of the house in half, and that's called a HUD home. That's what makes a HUD home a HUD home. Somebody that bought it honestly, couldn't afford it, goes to auction, and then usually is auctioned up at half the price. Now, the secondary parts that roll into this is going to be that you want to get these through your local PHA, which means they have a definitive list, and I'm going to give you that link now. That way you can look at the homes yourself. But before I do that, let me give you a link to this. You're going to want a home buyer kit, and so I'm going to give you that link right now. So go into your chat window, and look, guys, if you don't have the chat window, I'm going to copy these links in the description, but it takes YouTube about 24 hours for them to allow me to make changes to the video, okay? Because this is a live video. They like to make sure nothing bad's happening. So, all right, so go ahead and get your kit. Now, the third thing I'm going to tell you guys is before we go a little bit further, if you do decide to use a broker or real estate agent, you're probably going to have to anyways, okay? So that's just the reality. I mean, you're probably going to have somebody licensed, but the main thing is these guys, they have to be certified by HUD. So it takes a special kind of real estate agent and a special kind of broker. You cannot just be any real estate agent. You must be certified in order to do this. So with that being said, let me give you a additional link here. My advice here, guys, is you're welcome to consult with me about anything you want. You can even hire me for my opinion on this subject matter, but I would also advise you guys to speak with a HUD counselor. And that link just went in, okay? So those guys specialize in that. Now, what you may find is they probably know less than me. That happens sometimes because some people don't like their jobs, and we know that HUD isn't always at the top of their game. And so don't be surprised when you get less information from them than you would me. However, I still think it's a good move to speak to them, all right? So yeah, anyways, it's nationwide. The previous information included would indicate that this might be a regional program as well in some states. Now, if you live in New York, LA, and other areas where homes are at astronomical prices, this may not be possible for you. You're 30% pay in on this, and then you go to auction to get this home, and you've got it your FHA backed. If the home's $1 million, then obviously you're not going to meet the criteria. So I'm just going to put it this way: you need to live in an area where the home prices are reasonable as well. So, the home ownership program allows Section 8 recipients to purchase a home instead of sending out funds on rent. Instead of giving their funds to landlords, qualifying families can instead invest the funds on a home that they already actually own, or they can go to auction and get one from the HUD list. And that's something I'll be giving you in a little bit. Families can also receive assistance with down payments and closing costs, and may even receive lower interest rates, which are usually around 2 to 4%. Participants will need to make a down payment towards the purchase. You'll be required to provide at least 3% of the home's purchase price. At least 1% of the purchase price must come from the family's personal income. Um, let's see. And then you need an IDA account or SBA savings account. So that's something else you'll need to set up. The remaining 2% can be made up with the contributions from other programs, which would be HUD funded. So now I don't want to make this a 4-hour video. Some of the stuff gets quite detailed. Okay, that's why I'm just kind of skipping around. So who qualifies for these houses? You must be a first-time buyer and or a member of a family that must have a disability. As long as you have a household member that has not had a homeowner. Let me slow down. You must have a first-time home buyer or a member of a family must have a disability. As long as no household member has had ownership interest in a resided in the home or purchased a home in the past 3 years. In other words, as long as you've never owned a home, and that doesn't include if you're married to somebody and you bought it together, it must be the first time that you individually purchased a home, then you would qualify. You automatically qualify and go by different rules if you're considered a senior, 55 plus. You must meet minimum income requirements. The family must be equal or to the federal minimum hourly wage. Now, remember when I preached that video 2 years ago and I told you that you could be a bum in a ditch? I want you to recall that when I said you could be a bum in a ditch, roll out the ditch with mud in your hair, go to your job down there at Taco Bell, and go buy a home. And none of your people believe me. And a few of the idiots that makes videos about this subject want to argue the point. The difference is I can back that with the federal regulation, which I wish I could show you guys, but live videos don't allow me to do that. So we'll put that in the bottom part of the description. So you must meet a minimum income requirement. The family income must be equal or to that of the federal minimum hourly wage multiplied by 2,000 hours. At the time of this, at the time that they made this, which was 3 years ago, that would have been $14,500 a year. I think a lot of you almost arrive at that amount if you have a reasonable Social Security check or Social Security disability check, right? You must meet certain employment criteria unless you are elderly or disabled. I think we've all talked about the disability factors under HUD. They're less strenuous than that of the Social Security Administration. So, let's just say there's a lot of clever ways to be disabled. So, beyond that, so you must meet certain employment criteria unless you are elderly or disabled, and the primary homeowner must be employed full time, at least 30 hours per week on average, and have been continuously employed for an entire year prior to the purchase of the home. In other words, I'd like to see you working. However, you notice that I did say if you're disabled or you're a senior, these are non applicable. Your Social Security check will be sufficient, all right? As long as it's enough to meet the criteria. And I think right now it'd be around 17,500 a year. For those of you that don't make quite that much, get that much from Social Security at home, I would suggest utilizing that additional money you're allowed to make in lieu of receiving that. Maybe a small business, bake cakes, whatever it is, make up the last few thousand so you can be able to do this. You must participate in a home ownership counseling. Look, that's no matter anybody, okay? Look, if you're going to buy a home, you got to have it. Nobody's going to loan you money unless you go to that counseling. So that's not even a HUD original. You just got to do it anyways, all right? You must meet other requirements as specified by a local PHA. Now, look, PHAs are allowing you to do a pretty wonderful thing. But again, it's your money. That 30% that you're paying in that mortgage is technically your money, but they're being gracious enough to allow you to go to auction and or possibly if you're PHA, which is your public housing authority, if they're going to allow you to use that voucher in lieu of moving into that new home, then you should be most gracious and not argue the point with them. All right. What does the program give you? So you receive vouchers equal to the normal voucher payment program schedule. The payment is the lesser of either the home ownership expenses minus the family's contribution, or the payment standard minus the family's contribution. The payments are usually made directly to the lender. Now, this seems pretty obvious. So that's a lot of chitter chat and me reading my own notes. But let's just break this down. Look, guys, if you had a voucher greater than 12 months, then go after this. What kind of credit limit are they looking at? Your buy-in, the easiest buy-in is going to be 580. And I can tell you, I deal with low-income people and have been for over 20 years, and I've dealt with managing as both a district manager and even higher regional manager at big complexes, 200 plus units. I've looked at lots of credit scores. Most of you guys are in the fives to close to 600. A few of you actually go past it. Look, if you're down there at about a 450 or five, 6 months of work, you actually paying your bills, getting some things done, and go get you a couple prepaid cards, credit lines, and work on that, then you would probably be able to raise your score just enough to be able to have this. Okay. Second to that, the 30 hours of work requirement. If you're elderly or you're disabled, then those things are not required. Then you'll need to get in contact with a real estate agent or a broker that is actually certified by HUD. HUD has a list. I've already given you a link for that. Beyond that, it would be FHA. So you're dealing with the feds, you're dealing with Fannie Mae and Fannie Mac. Now, the wonderful part about this is, unlike regular loans and loan agencies and sharks that are out there, they're required by federal law to act in an appropriate manner when considering you for loans. Okay, so anytime you're trying to borrow money from the government, there tends to be less bigotry, racism, and other issues going down. However, I'm just saying it's better than dealing with typical loan sharks that are on every corner. So I think that you have a modest chance. There are other preliminary factors that are being considered that I'm not yet learned of, but I do believe if you're American Indian, potentially African American, and there are other sub minority races in the United States that may benefit greatly from these loans. But the main thing is they want to see that you're working and you can contribute 30% directly into the home. This is not a license to go out and buy a $1 million home, obviously. So the thing is, guys, you gotta get out there and do a little bit of research on this stuff. So that'll help you out a little bit. Now, moving on from that, so you want to get your home buyer's kit. That's going to tell you a whole lot of what you need to know. That kit's a lot like receiving a landlord's kit when you go to a housing authority. They tend to give you a detailed outline of what you need to do. I've already provided that link. You'll need to contact a HUD-approved housing counseling agencies, which means they're not just a broker or a real estate agent, but they're certified. Then you'll need to contact your local PHA, which is your local housing authority, and see if the program is available in one, uh, either in one version or another. Well, you can use your voucher or you not use a voucher, but go to auction on this. Then you'll need to talk to your lender, which needs to be a FHA approved lender to get a mortgage. Mortgage sounds pretty serious when you have no money and you can barely put butter in an ice box. But look, this stuff was designed for people. This was designed in consideration to people that don't have anything. That's the thing. A lot of you guys mentally talk yourself out of things because you probably spent your whole most of your life in debt. Maybe you've never had good credit. Maybe you've never had a credit card. The thing about this is the government has already considered these considerations. The only one eliminating you from being at home is the way that you think. It's your mind. All right. Now, I'm not suggesting this is an easy process. I'm not saying you pop on your flip flops, go get a loan. Okay, it's not that simple. Let's be realistic. Let's come back to earth. There is a process you go through. It won't be easy, and you will receive some rejection. So what? What do you have better to do? Other than check the mail and look out the window. Invest your time into this. It'll pay off, even if it's slow. I've got people that are super low income or extremely low income, and they only can save an extra $20 a month. Okay, and these are the people right now that are working towards getting home. I also know young couples that are homeless. To be honest with you, I dealt with a couple. We helped them get into a home, and you know what? The first 4 months they slept on the carpet. They owned nothing in that home. Nothing. Slept on the floor. They told me they even went to a local hotel. They didn't have a phone, but they had enough credit to get the phone turned on. So they went and did something bad. They went to the hotel. They said, "We'd like to see the room first." They stole the telephone because they couldn't even afford that, and plugged in the phone. Of course, when they got to their house, it's crazy, but that's how it works out sometimes. But look, guys, try to do some of these things. Try to look into it and see what you can do. Like I said, I'm not an expert in this area. I wanted to bring it to the table, give you some links, and hopefully help you out a little bit. So I'm going to open this up to questions, and I welcome any critics that want to come from other YouTube channels. I get that. I'm definitely driving out of my lane when it comes to this. I hope people get vouchers. I consult in that area. I don't really consult on real estate, so I understand criticism. But if you get out of control of my channel, I'll put your ass out. I'm just be straight up. If you're over here to troll on my channel about this particular video, I'll put your ass out of my channel. I'm serious. All right, so let's take a look. See what kind of comments we got. Totally trained. Hello. So how are you doing? Eric Yorban. He says, cool. Good to see you, Eric. I think you're a first timer. Rin Hall, I know you're a regular. Jasmine, hey Jazzy, how are you doing? She's a regular. And it looks like things are pretty quiet in the channel right now. So if anybody's got questions related to Section 8 consulting, getting vouchers and other things, or if you have a few modest questions about home purchase using your housing choice voucher to get a new home, or potentially getting a new home, I'm open to the idea of discussing that. So looks like we got a pretty light crowd at 10 people today. So that's my story. I need this video. Well, Trina, I can certainly appreciate that. You know what? We're in a hell of a market because we've got the prices of homes around the country right now are blasting through the roof. I mean, they're almost doubling in value. I know 4 months ago these houses weren't worth this much. Now I'm talking to people around the country. The prices are going astronomical. Videos it's getting so hard. Trying to get decent or solid advice behind how to deal with the HUD program to purchase a home or even use a voucher is almost non-existent. And the little bit of information out there is Seems like it was written 20 years ago, so I don't know. A lot of people are struggling with this. So, guys, if you're new, if you're late to get into the video, we talked a little bit about the home buyer program. We talked about some of the credit scores, criterias, and what you might need to do in order to buy a home. And one of the other things that you guys should consider is if you're getting an FHA loan and you're using that in lieu of your voucher, a lot of these, like the USDA loan, require zero down and 3% interest over a 15-year period. You can almost walk into these homes for next to nothing other than your lender requirements. Now, I can't be absolute, don't consider that advice, but I think that if you're going to buy a small but modest home and follow the program rules, I think it'd be, quite honestly, I think it would work. I've seen at least 15 people do it that have a hell of a lot less than some of the people I see in my chat window right now. And I do know some of you guys. So, that being said, good God, I've never seen so few people show up for a live video. Is the traffic bad or something happened? So, all right, guys. Well, if I don't see any more comments, I'm probably going to wrap this up because it doesn't look like this is going to be one of those videos where I thought you guys were interested. We've been talking about this for 2 years, and y'all all been asking me about home buyer programs, and I finally make the video live, and nobody seems to have showed up. Hey, Johnny Platt, what's going on, man? Thank you for your help with the COC process. I'm now on the rapid rehousing waiting list. You know what, Johnny? I just talked to another lady today. I tell you what, this has been a good week. I think we put 15 people now with vouchers. It's always funny. I consult with people about these vouchers. Oh no, that shit takes 15 years, and then a week later they're thanking me. How did you manage to do that? Well, I guess it's magic, huh? So yeah, I'm glad to hear that, Johnny. That's going to help you, man. We can push that program up to 2 years, and hopefully that'll help you stabilize. You should also consider getting over. Another thing I've been telling you guys about these COC vouchers to get you guys housed, man. Look, that happens fast, 35 days. A lot of my clients, 6 days, 7, 10, 30, 35 days. So the one thing you never see on my channel are angry, pissed off people coming back. Hey, man, I never got shit out of this. I can't believe I paid you a fee. How did I manage to survive 6 years with only a handful of complaints? That's a pretty good deal, right? That means over 10,000 people, I did exactly what I said I'd do. My advice was just that good. Totally, Treen. I'm interested. I'm just waiting to secure the funds to get my consultation. No, I totally get that. I totally get that. I wish I could go back in time. All that time, 14 years, I was doing these consults for free. And I still do it. I still catch myself talking to clients. They paper consult, 20 minutes. We're on there talking about everything under the moon for an hour and a half. So my sole purpose in life is not to obviously to charge consulting fees. I only do a limited number, only in the mornings. I know you guys complain about that a lot. You want these consults to be done later in the day, but I have to move on with different things later in the day because I have 3 businesses. So, Rose, how are you? How do they determine the 30% of your pay? If like in my case, I'm a server, and my pay and tips fluctuate all the time. Well, that's the thing. As a waiter, and I worked in the service industry a long time ago. So what happens there is they look at a timeline of 90 days, and they kind of do laws of average with that. So say you did 600 one month, 530 the other. So they're going to start. What they do is they start to level that up to 90 days. So you divide 90 days out, and then you come up with a pretty even or principal amount. However, that mathematical equation does falter when things like a pandemic hit because then all the math goes out in the window. So I think right now they're going to be looking at the very short term with you, last month or two to see how much money you've been making over that period as a gross, and then it would be 30% of that. So if you somehow totaled 900 for the month, then your payment would be $300. It wouldn't be much. Again, I don't know what kind of funding what funding level is attached to your voucher. It could be 70, 80, 90. I know with some veterans, they 110, 120, 125%. So, total treen, if your for your information, your time should definitely be compensated. I'm paid on 7/9. I appreciate that, totally trained. I think so too, man. Those 18-hour days and free phone calls are killer. I love people, man, but I love my cats as well. Most of you know this channel is divided. I'm very much discriminative because I enjoy helping people as much as I do my cats that I own. So I do favor them as well, and they don't pay me, but I certainly pay for them. I know I've kicked out 2 grand saving cats from horrible owners. You know, wild shit. So let's take a look here. Johnny Platt, I'm just running into issues of being denied moving into places due to bad credit score, even with yelling at these places you only get paid by COC program. Okay, so you're going, Johnny. You're gonna let me tell you something about these landlords. If you're taking the normal avenues, I think you're taking to find these properties, then yeah, they're going to be picky assholes. Straight up, that's how landlords are. Even with a voucher. Here's my recommendation with that: stop with whatever you're doing when you're looking in that particular way. I want you to go to your Facebook Marketplace and find the properties there. Around 98% of all landlords that will accept people with less than considerable credit and other things are going to be on Facebook Marketplace for real estate. Do not fuck with Craigslist. Seriously, that is a big problem. I've had several clients ripped off. And realtor.com and all that. That's just garbage. That's completely out of there. Not a great place. And by the way, the housing authority keeps one of the worst lists of landlords I've ever seen. The most picky, pragmatic assholes you'll ever meet in your life are the landlords on the list that's given by Section 8. And I'd also avoid the landlords that COCs would give you because these are all the worst landlords are the ones dying to be on that list. Look, just use the Facebook Marketplace for real estate. So, guys, if y'all have questions about Section 8, housing, affordable housing, home buying, especially FHA loans, I'm happy to give advice in that area. That's what I do. I own Section8Consulting.com, and I come out here live, but sometimes talk to you guys about different things that you have going on. Does your advice work for Yonkers? Well, D, I'll just say Mr. and Mrs. D. I'm not sure. I'll tell you this: 40% of my clients are from New York. So, what do you think? I think so. However, here's the problem in New York. When we talk about Yonkers, let's talk about price. Could you even afford to play that game? That's what I'm wondering. So, hey, no problem, Johnny. I think you're going to do all right with Facebook Marketplace. It's pretty good. A lot of those landlords, man, they just want somebody decent. You know, if you can promise you're not going to be a bad actor, a lot of times the Facebook Marketplace landlords are pretty good. When you start going down the normal lanes where they're looking for ordinary people with high credit limits and all that, it's usually not going to work out too well. You're in the Bronx, okay? So Bronx, that really depends. You certainly can try, but I don't know if there's any affordable properties with your current income. To be honest with you, D, I need to know a hell of a lot more about your case, just than whether you're from the Bronx. I don't know anything about your disabilities, your age, and other criterias. I don't know your financial position, your credit score, any of that stuff. So I'm flying completely in the dark with this. I think you got as fair as chance as anybody, but I would be little more than a magician and a rodeo clown if I suggested that I could give you the kind of information you're looking for in the chat window of this video. That's the kind of stuff you would expect from a lot of these idiots on YouTube. I don't do that, man. I can look into that for you if you want to send me an email. I'll just see because I'd rather you have good advice than bad. That's how that goes. So how can we talk to you offline? Okay, so in my YouTube channel, you click on my face. That'll bring you to my main page. You'll see my email and stuff plastered all throughout my entire channel. Also, in the description of this video is a way. There's a booking software there. You go there. You don't have to book me. There's an opportunity to go to the website. There's an opportunity to fill out a form there. There's an opportunity to see the email address and so on. So you should be able to work it from there. All right, guys, how much time we got in this video? Because this is an interesting deal here. Only 10 today. I've never had so few people. I guess it's just a bad video. So, guys, we're at about 39 minutes or 29 minutes. I think I'm going to wrap this up because nobody really showed up that I thought they would for this. So, if anybody's getting the last questions, you're welcome to hit me up. Otherwise, I don't really see a point to carrying on to just 10, 12 people. really surprised because out of 8 or 9,000 people asking about buying homes, I would have thought people would have showed up, but I guess not. Ian Miles, how are you doing? So, yep, hey, Ian, if you got questions, you better hit me up now because I'm going to be leaving pretty soon. You might want to rewind the video back to about the first 10 or 15 minutes. A lot of good information links there. We talk about home buying and some of the different programs, credit history, and so on. Should help you out. All right, guys. Well, we're at 30 minutes. Looks like this was kind of a flop. I know my information is good. I guess people just have better things to do. It's the first of the month. A lot of people just getting their money. Maybe they want to go out and have dinner, steak dinner, whatever it may be. So maybe I just picked the wrong day. So, look, I've enjoyed talking with all of you. I hope that you find some of it useful. Remember that if you're really going to get advice about buying homes, you should always go to a qualified HUD official to that, okay? They're certified to do so. If not, then you should speak with a broker or a licensed real estate agent that is certified in this. Do not take a lot of advice from bobbing heads on YouTube and all these scam websites that are across Google. These guys are sitting in China and Russia. They'd love nothing more than you to enter your social security number. And then on Tuesday, they're going to need you to run down to CVS and get them a handful of fucking gift cards. You know how that works, right? So don't get stuck out like that. If you want good advice, talk to a qualified official. Today's video was my opinion, also my experience of buying a home. But just watch yourself out there. A lot of you guys, you're too easy to trick. Three women and one man just in the past week have been robbed for about $4,000. You know, y'all are cutting checks, y'all are writing money orders out to scam artists, and I think that's terrible. One poor lady, man, she gave $1,500. This guy was pretty good. He spent about $6. He went down and got him some business cards. He went and went to the Goodwill, bought him the nicest suit he could find. Probably got him an Uber. He met the lady at a nice, pretty big building, and so what he did is he knew the building had a front door and a back door. He accepted the money order. He said, "Well, let me run into my office real quick." He didn't have no office in the building. He just walked straight through the building, out the back door, caught him another Uber, and left. He was at the bank before the woman could even stop to cancel the money order. You see how that works out? You can't trust shit. I don't care if these people wearing a suit. I don't give a damn how they look or how professional. You know what I tell them? Hey, if you don't have a credit card machine sitting in that office, brother, we're done. Also, when you deal with brokers and real estate agents, you're unsure about them. Just say, hey, let's walk on out to the car, start photographing all them license plates. That way, they can get what I call Section 10 or Section 9. That's the federal pen. They feed you 3 hots and a cot, and they'll give you 85% of the time. That's the best way to get free housing. Let the government put your ass up in a federal prison for robbing people, especially to be so damn insidious that you'd go out here and try to defraud people that barely have money to start with. I can't stand people like that. I also can't stand people that get on YouTube and give advice about a bunch of bullshit that they have nothing to know about. Remember, I always tell you guys in these videos, one week they're an expert in fidget spinners, the next week they're baking cakes, and this week they're a professional Section 8 consultant. Watch yourself with these guys on YouTube, man. If they don't have an established history, if you can't establish, you have a website, and if they can't walk the walk and talk the talk, then get rid of them. You know, don't watch yourself. All right, guys, I've done enough hammering on this YouTube, so I'll catch you guys Sunday. Hopefully, we'll talk about something y'all more interested in. All right, good seeing y'all. Bye.